got serious. In my last video about the struggle for views, we had a bit of fun. But I made this channel to talk about what's on my mind and what I think. And the latest thing that's been on my mind is the fiasco related to the Canada Emergency Response Benefit. Now, in the beginning of the pandemic, back in March, Canada implemented this benefit to help people who were struggling with paying their bills, because this pandemic not just affected employees but also those self-employed. And there was a lot of loopholes, and people were falling through the crack that weren't receiving the help they need, because not everyone qualifies for employment insurance in Canada. You have to meet certain requirements, you've got to be working for a while. So the government decided to have this sort of catch-all category. As long as you made money in 2019, government was going to pay you $2,000 a month for 7 months for a total of 14 grand. And all you needed to qualify for this benefit was to have made at least $5,000 in net income. Sorry, that was the scandal. What they said on the website, on the Canada Revenue Agency website, was you had to at least made $5,000 in income to qualify for $2,000 a month for 7 months. It sounds generous, and it is. And they want it this way because they'd rather have people have more money than they used to make than to be suffering during this pandemic. They don't want people who are sick to go to work. So at that time, this plan made perfect sense, right? And as long as everyone followed the rules, I personally don't really have a negative opinion about it. But the problem was people started playing games with the wording. Because the CRA was not clear on whether it was gross income or net income, everyone was applying for this benefit. And the Trudeau government had a policy of making sure the money comes first, and we'll do the investigations for fraud later, and we'll penalize the people who are trying to cheat the system later. And that at the same time sounded right, because people needed to pay their bills, people needed to pay their rent, so that they don't end up on the street. So that at the time that perfectly made sense to me. Now what doesn't make sense is right now, where some of the people that receive the money say they were confused about the term income, gross income versus net income. Now, I personally am a finance professional. I have a CPA, I have a CFA, and I don't know whoever, especially the tax authorities, care about your gross income, right? And the thing that annoys me the most is that these people not only said that they were confused whether it was gross income or net income, they even got their accountants involved, right? These are professionals that should know the difference between gross income and net income and what the tax agencies are talking about when they're talking about income, right? Your taxes that you pay are based on net income. The refund you get, the tax rate is based on your net income. No one has ever been taxed on their gross income, especially in Canada. And for some reason in this benefit, people are saying gross income. And granted, there are some agencies or some agents, some like sales rep, I think they're called client reps, that did get wrong information and said and told people that it's gross income. But they changed that later on, and these accountants and these business owners, they're not exactly finance illiterate or tax illiterate, right? They should know when something's too good to be true and double check. Like you don't open up a business without knowing a few things about the difference between gross income, which is technically sales, and net income, and taxes. These are the three things that every entrepreneur know before they even start their business. Because this is the basic. And for those people who say, but I really need the money, and it just so happens that I made $5,000 in sale, but lost $3,000 anyways, and the government should pay me $2,000 a month for 7 months. And now they're shocked, right? Because last year the CRA started sending out letters saying, hey, we paid you in error. Please pay it back. Now, because of the discrepancy between gross income and net income, they're trying to say that this was an honest mistake and there should be no penalties. And they even go as far as wanting the loans forgiven. Now, that's where it hits me. They just want free money. And a lot of these people aren't exactly poor, right? These people are business owners, entrepreneurs. Maybe they are struggling with the business the way they are, but they're a business. They have saved up for rainy day funds. And perhaps they weren't making that much last year, or they were even losing money. But they are now taking advantage of this situation for some seed capital. And that's the part that annoys me, because these people are not generous, right? They're not honest. They know the fact that the government has certain intentions, and they know they saw certain loopholes and they took advantage of it. And because the government said, as long as you were honest in your application, and as long as you made an honest mistake, there are no penalties. And so everyone is going to take advantage of this. I know plenty of friends who are wealthy, who are rich, or even some people who are retired. They all took advantage of this. It's like, when the time comes due, I'll return this interest-free loan because it's an honest mistake. I know plenty of people who took this money and invested it in the stock market and made 10% profit, 20% profit, and they can afford to pay back the government. And is that everybody? No, I'm pretty sure there are people who really need the money. But that again is subjective. Like, I made over $300,000 last year. Can I use more money? Of course, I can always use more money. Everyone can always use more money. Anyone can justify the need for more money. But that doesn't mean the government should be handing out money for everyone, right? And that's why we set the rules. And for people who didn't understand the rules and didn't take care to get it clarified, I have no sympathy for you. Like, and you also gotta look at it the other way. What would you have done without that money? Why are you complaining about free money that you borrowed? Right? It's like, sure, you thought it was given, so you spent it like it was given. But even if you didn't have that money, you would have been far worse off than now. You'd rather be given a loan than be given nothing. So, as far as I'm concerned, the government should not forgive these loans. I understand you should make some payment plans. You can be flexible because times is tough. I'm in here in Toronto, and today's the middle of January, and we're still under a provincial lockdown, so times are still tough. And I understand that we gotta be flexible, but being flexible doesn't mean we should give free money, especially on the taxpayer's dime. And I pay a lot of those taxes, right? So thank you for hearing me vent. And hopefully next time we can talk about something a little bit more positive and probably a lot more useful and actionable. Thanks.